Do you ever find yourself wondering, as the years slip away, if this is it? Is this what growing older really means? The aching joints. The fading energy. The sense that life's vigor has quietly slipped through your fingers. There's a moment. A quiet, unsettling moment. When you question everything you've known about life. About aging. But let me tell you something few ever discover. Aging doesn't have to be a decline. It is, in fact, a secret doorway. A passage to deeper wisdom, inner peace, and untold joy. Let me share a story with you. A simple one. Yet it shifted everything for me. I was sitting alone on a park bench, feeling the weight of time pressing against my bones, when I saw him. A man in his 80s. Tossing a frisbee with his grandchild. He laughed. And his laugh was the sound of pure freedom. There he was. His steps slow. His body perhaps frail. But his spirit was as vibrant as it had ever been. He was no older than 20 in that moment. I realized then. Aging is not about slowing down. It's about embracing life with a new kind of clarity. A more profound purpose. Most people fear growing old. The loss of strength. The loss of vitality. The loss of adventure. But what if, instead of seeing aging as a loss, we embraced it as an opportunity? To cultivate wisdom. To find inner peace we've never known before. What if aging is the moment to truly awaken to the deepest truths of who we are? You see, Buddhism teaches us something extraordinary about aging. It teaches us that growing older is not something to fear. It's a time to deepen your understanding of life. A time to live more mindfully. More authentically. Today, I will share with you 8 essential tips, rooted in timeless Buddhist wisdom, that can help you thrive in your later years. Not merely survive, but thrive with purpose, peace, and strength. Trust me when I say, the best years of your life may be ahead of you. And they don't have to be filled with regret or sorrow. They can be filled with profound joy. So, I ask you, are you ready to embrace this new chapter? This new way of living? Let's uncover the secrets that will guide you toward a life richer than you ever imagined. Tip number 1, walk your way to strength. Walking is a path to mindfulness. Walking, often considered a simple, everyday activity. But when approached with mindfulness, it holds profound significance. In Buddhism, walking meditation is a practice. It invites the individual to be fully present in each step. A powerful way to clear the mind. To center the body. This may sound like a paradox. How could something as common as walking be so transformative? But it's in the simplicity of this act that true power lies. Walking becomes a tool for cultivating mindfulness. When we consciously tune into the present moment. When I first ventured out for a walk, I was full of doubt and hesitation. My body felt slow. My mind was cluttered with worries. I questioned whether I could really benefit from such a simple practice. Yet, as I began to walk, I felt a steadying in my breath. A quieting of my mind. Each step was a small surrender to the now. In that space, I could feel myself reconnecting to something deeper. To a stillness I hadn't known in years. This is the beauty of walking meditation. It is not about the destination, or the speed, but about the process. Each step is an opportunity to be, rather than do. The Buddha, a tireless wanderer, taught us that life itself is a journey. One step at a time. Through this metaphor, walking becomes symbolic of how we move through life. Each step an opportunity to live with intention and mindfulness. You don't need to walk miles to experience this. Even a brief walk, just 10 or 15 minutes, can provide immense mental clarity. When we walk mindfully, we create space for peace. And in this peace, we find our strength. The wisdom of walking is simple. Step into your own presence. With each mindful step, you clear the clutter of thoughts, and your body begins to align with the rhythm of the earth, offering you a rare sense of calm and groundedness. Tip number 2, eat like you love yourself, nourishment from the heart. As we grow older, we begin to realize just how deeply intertwined our well-being is with the way we care for our bodies. For years, I lived without much thought for my health, grabbing quick snacks and eating out of convenience, not love. I had a long-standing habit of eating things that were fast, filling, but ultimately left me feeling empty. Chips, sugary drinks, fast food. These foods were a way to numb the discomforts of life, to fill a void that went beyond hunger. But deep down, I knew that these choices were not honoring my body. The real shift came when I took a step toward nourishing myself with intention. It wasn't a drastic change overnight. It was a gradual shift toward real, whole foods that made me feel better, lighter, and more connected to myself. The first time I made a simple pot of vegetable soup, it was as if I was offering my body not just food, but a form of love, acknowledging that I was worth more than the quick fixes I had relied on for so long. In Buddhism, food is viewed not just as sustenance, but as an offering. It's a way of honoring the body as the vessel for the soul. Eating mindfully transforms the simple act of eating into a moment of reverence. Every bite is an opportunity to express gratitude, not just for the food itself, but for the body that receives it, for the hands that prepared it, and for the life that sustains it. Eating with love and intention is a practice in mindfulness. It's about paying attention to what we eat, how we eat, and how we feel while eating. It's no longer about feeding our hunger mindlessly, but about creating a relationship with food that nurtures our bodies and our spirits. When we eat mindfully, we honor the body as a sacred temple, and each meal becomes an act of care, a moment of self-respect and compassion. Tip number 3, laugh often, the healing power of joyful laughter. Laughter is often seen as a simple reaction to something funny, but it is so much more than that. Laughter is a reflection of joy, freedom, and a return to childlike wonder. It's an expression of life's inherent absurdity, an opportunity to release our attachment to worry, to control, and to the burdens of the mind. In Buddhism, laughter is a form of liberation. It lightens the spirit, and allows us to let go of the seriousness we often carry with us. I vividly remember a time with my dear friend Betty. Despite all the changes life threw at us, we found joy in the simplest of things. One evening, we watched an old slapstick comedy that had us laughing so hard we forgot everything else. In that moment of laughter, I felt a deep sense of release, a letting go of all the worries that had built up inside of me. It was as if we had both shed years of weight in a single burst of joy. The Buddha himself laughed often. He knew that laughter is a reflection of our ability to let go, to embrace life with a light heart. Laughter isn't just about the external. It's a reflection of the internal shift. It's a way of reminding ourselves that life, at its core, is meant to be enjoyed. As we age, we often forget to laugh as deeply as we once did. The seriousness of life, the weight of responsibilities, and the challenges of aging can steal our ability to find joy in the small things. But laughter doesn't need to be tied to anything grand. It's found in sharing a joke with a friend, in watching a funny movie, or in laughing at ourselves. Laughter is free, and it is healing. So, let's not wait for the perfect moment. Let's laugh. Not just for ourselves, but to share that joy with those around us. Tip number 4, build a routine, the wisdom of structure in aging. When we retire, or when the external structure of our daily lives begins to fade, we can sometimes feel lost. Like a boat without a rudder, drifting aimlessly. I've been there myself. After retirement, I struggled with the lack of structure, the absence of a predictable routine. At first, I didn't think it mattered, but I quickly realized that without routine, my days became scattered, and I began to lose my sense of purpose. In Buddhism, mindfulness is not just a momentary practice, it's a way of life. The Buddha taught that discipline and intention should be a part of every aspect of life, from the smallest actions to the most significant. Routine is not about filling your day with tasks. It's about bringing harmony to your life. Each moment, whether it's taking a cup of tea, walking, or even meditating, is an opportunity to create meaning and presence in your life. I began to create small, simple routines, starting with a cup of tea in the morning, followed by a walk, and ending the day with reading or quiet reflection. At first, it felt strange, like I was trying to force structure into a life that had once been free. But over time, I realized that these small, intentional actions provided a sense of peace and purpose I hadn't realized I was missing. Routine gave me a rhythm to my day, a way to ground myself in the present moment. Through routine, we don't just fill our days with activities. We begin to fill our hearts with presence, with gratitude for the ordinary moments that make life extraordinary. Routine is a form of mindfulness. It's about slowing down and honoring the moments we often overlook. Tip number 5, talk to someone, the Buddhist practice of connection. In our later years, one of the most valuable yet often overlooked aspects of our well-being is the simple act of connecting with others. As we grow older, the rhythms of life shift. Our social circles may shrink, loved ones pass on, or we find ourselves feeling more isolated, both physically and emotionally. It's easy to believe that keeping our struggles to ourselves is a form of strength, that we should be independent, self-sufficient. I know I believed that for years. I told myself that sharing my feelings or burdens with others would be a sign of weakness. But as time passed, I began to realize how detrimental that isolation was to my emotional and mental health. Connection is a core principle in Buddhist teachings. The Buddha spoke extensively about the importance of Sangha, the community of like-minded individuals who come together in shared purpose, to support, listen, and lift one another. In fact, Sangha is considered one of the 3 jewels of Buddhism, the community of practitioners who help each other along the spiritual path. The Buddhist view is that we are not meant to walk this journey of life alone. We need others not just for support, but to share in the joy of our shared humanity, to remind us that we are seen, heard, and loved. It was one day when my daughter called, and we spoke for over an hour, not about anything particularly profound, but about the ordinary details of our lives. We talked about our daily routines, funny little observations, even small frustrations. But that conversation was more powerful than any therapy session I had ever attended. It gave me something more than just the sharing of information. It gave me a sense of connection, a reminder that I wasn't alone in my experiences. Sometimes, the greatest healing comes not from grand gestures, but from simply being heard and understood. It reminded me that connection is sacred. It is in those moments of vulnerability, of openness, that we truly experience the depths of compassion. In Buddhism, we are reminded that we are not isolated beings, but part of a vast, interconnected web. Reaching out, being present for others, and accepting their presence in return, helps to heal the emotional wounds of solitude. There is immense power in sharing our burdens, and equally, in sharing our joys. When we connect with others, whether it's through a phone call, a conversation over a cup of tea, or even just a smile, we weave threads that connect us to the heart of life itself. We remind ourselves that we are not isolated, we are part of a greater whole. A community. A family. So, when the weight of loneliness starts to feel too heavy, remember, you are never alone unless you choose to be. Talk to someone. Reach out. And allow the community to support you, as you too can support others in their moments of need. Tip number 6, try something new, embrace the spirit of adventure. As we age, it's easy to become comfortable in the routines we've established. We build our lives around familiar rhythms and find solace in them. There's safety in predictability, a sense of peace in knowing what's coming next. But as we settle into these routines, there's a risk of losing something more vital. The spark of adventure. The joy of discovery. We often become too cautious, too comfortable, too afraid to step outside our self-imposed boundaries. But in truth, embracing something new, something different, can bring about a deep, revitalizing transformation. I remember the first time I decided to try something completely outside my comfort zone. I signed up for a pottery class. The thought of getting my hands dirty with clay, of not knowing what I was doing, made me nervous. I could feel the old fears of failure creeping in. What if I made a mess? What if I looked foolish? But despite the hesitation, I took the leap. The first bowl I made was lopsided, the sides uneven, a true reflection of my inexperience. Yet, in that very mess, I found something profound, a sense of freedom. It wasn't about the perfect bowl. It was about the courage to try something new, to let go of the need for perfection, to simply experience the process of creation. That moment, messy as it was, reminded me of the beauty of being a beginner, of embracing life with an open heart, free from judgment. Buddhism teaches us to approach life with the spirit of a beginner's mind, a mind that is open, curious, and eager to explore without attachment to the outcome. This spirit is about letting go of preconceived notions, of embracing life as it comes, without the pressure of achieving perfection. Trying something new, no matter how small, reignites that spark of wonder that we often lose as we age. It pulls us out of the safety of routine and into the adventure of life. Whether it's learning a new hobby, exploring a new place, or simply trying a new way of thinking, embracing the new reminds us that we are alive, capable, and open to the world. Buddhism teaches us that growth comes from embracing the unknown, stepping beyond our comfort zone, and experiencing life with the fresh eyes of a child. In these moments of adventure, we reconnect with the boundless curiosity that makes life exciting, meaningful, and full of possibility. Tip number 7, sleep like a champ, the power of restorative rest. In today's fast-paced world, we often neglect the importance of rest. We push ourselves beyond our limits, believing that more work, more productivity, more activity is the key to a fulfilling life. But sleep is not a luxury. It is an essential part of our well-being, both physically and spiritually. When we rest, we give ourselves permission to recharge, to heal, and to find inner peace. The mind, the body, and the spirit all require rest to function optimally. And without it, we begin to suffer. For many years, I didn't prioritize sleep as I should have. I would stay up late, scrolling through my phone or watching TV, believing that sleep would come when I was ready. But more often than not, sleep eluded me, leaving me feeling exhausted the next day. It wasn't until I shifted my approach, treating sleep as a sacred practice, as an act of self-care, that I began to see real change. I started creating a quiet ritual before bed, turning off screens, dimming the lights, and drinking a cup of chamomile tea to help calm my mind. I made a conscious decision to slow down, to let go of the day's stresses, and to allow my body and mind the space to unwind. And that night, for the first time in a long while, I slept deeply. I woke up feeling rested and rejuvenated, as though I had been gently reset. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of balance, the middle way. In all things, we seek moderation, avoiding extremes. Rest is no exception. The Buddha taught that mindfulness doesn't stop at the end of the day. It continues into the evening, as we prepare ourselves for rest. When we sleep mindfully, we allow ourselves the grace to heal, to release the tensions of the day, and to enter into a state of peaceful rest. By making sleep a practice, we honor our body's need for restoration, and in doing so, we create space for growth, for clarity, and for peace. Tip number 8, celebrate you, honor your journey. As we age, it's easy to forget the importance of celebrating ourselves. We often focus so much on what still needs to be done, on the tasks that remain unfinished, that we overlook the significance of how far we've come. We forget to pause, to acknowledge the strength and resilience it has taken to reach this point in our lives. I remember a particularly difficult week when everything seemed to go wrong. I felt drained, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But instead of pushing through the exhaustion, I took a moment to treat myself to something simple but meaningful. A slice of my favorite pie. Not because it was a special occasion, but because I had made it through the week. In that small act of self-compassion, I realized something profound. It wasn't the pie that mattered. It was the recognition of my own resilience. I had survived the challenges, and that, in itself, was worth celebrating. In Buddhism, the practice of mudita, or sympathetic joy, encourages us not only to take joy in the happiness of others but also in our own accomplishments. We often overlook the strength it takes to simply get through life. The quiet perseverance, the everyday courage. Celebrating ourselves isn't about arrogance. It's about recognizing our worth, our journey, and our growth. Celebrating yourself is a gift of gratitude. It's about honoring your journey, acknowledging that each step, each struggle, each victory has brought you here, to this moment. So, don't wait for an occasion to celebrate. Honor your life, your resilience, and the strength that resides in you. Every single day. You've earned it. Aging is not a descent into frailty. It is a profound ascent into deeper wisdom. It's not about slowing down, it's about deepening your experience. Living each day with greater purpose, clarity, and mindfulness. When we embrace life with intention, we realize that the later years are not something to fear, but a space where we can cultivate peace, strength, and lasting joy. Every small step you take, every mindful choice you make, moves you closer to the life you deserve. I invite you to take that step today. What small change can you make to honor yourself, to embrace this new chapter of your life? It doesn't have to be grand. Sometimes, the most profound shifts come from the simplest of actions. Take a moment, right now, to reflect on how you can live with more intention, how you can bring more peace into your life. And if you've found something here that resonates with you, something that stirs your heart and calls you to live better, I invite you to join us on this journey. Subscribe to Whisper of Age, and continue exploring the timeless wisdom that can help us all live with more mindfulness, more joy, and a deeper connection to life. Together, we'll navigate the beautiful, mysterious path of aging with grace and strength. Remember, the most powerful force in life is the ability to change, to adapt, to grow, and to embrace the beauty in each new day. Let this be the moment you decide to live with a renewed sense of purpose. To face the future with courage and hope. The best is yet to come.